I've just recorded my video on Lareo's Awakening being released, and another thing added in this update, which at the time of recording at least, I haven't really seen many people mention yet, is they've actually added Senelle's weapon into the game. You can see down here, Leaf Dance, and we can see and predict the exact stages of Senelle's weapon all the way through from base to 4-star. You can see here that the base of it and 4-star here, and none of the ability changes whatsoever except the skill damage. So if I go to my sheet here, I did a video specifically on how Senelle works and reports just a week or two ago actually, so this is quite good timing. You can see down here in this little chart what the full progression of the stars will be unless they change anything. So the way this typically works is there is a bigger jump at base and 4-star, either that or there is a different jump. So if we look at something like Sandor, for example, his weapon had separate effects on the base and 4-star jumps and then something else in the middle. So we can pretty much guarantee this is what it will be for Senelle's progression. Her base damage coefficient increase is 65%. So it will go 65% to 75%, a jump of 10, and then intervals of 5 to 80, 85, 90, and then another jump of 10 to finally 100% at 4-star Senelle weapon. So as an initial impression, that is quite underwhelming, depending on your interpretation. As a player that primarily is playing bleed infantry, that is something that makes me very, very happy, honestly, because I was quite scared about how good this would be if they touched the triggers at all. But unless it's changed before release, that doesn't seem to be the case. So the maths on this are very easy to work out because I can just increase the percentages that I had here in my charts for her base ability. And when you do that for each interval, you can see that it goes as a total damage coefficient increase with 4-star Layla weapon from 3,666 here all the way up to 5,640% with the 4-star weapon. So it's about a 2,000% damage coefficient from base to 4-star, which honestly, considering the price, isn't that crazy. Like if you look at the maximum value increase of something like Sandor, goes from about 5.7k to a potential of 27k, and that's potentially even higher as well. Those numbers admittedly are quite situational and won't apply in all situations like Senelle's will. But as another piece of context, Lareo, as a free-to-play commander, giving about 2,000% as an increase as well as another release today. And that's approximately what you're going to be getting from Senelle's weapon all the way to. And to an extent, this is a bit of a moot point because you're going to want to be buffing your Senelle either way, and more damage is just more damage. But if you're in this spending bracket where this is even relevant to you, and 4-star Senelle weapon is something you're even considering, you're probably going to have a lot of other things available to you. And in recent times at least, top accounts haven't actually been running Senelle. They've been running Layla Salma, and then Cersei Dany with weapon, and then Night King with weapon, and omitting the 5th female. That seems to be the most popular maxed out female build right now. Admittedly, it's not a direct improvement, and if you're soloing someone's castle, for example, and you just absolutely destroy them, and perhaps the Night King's white triggers are delayed a bit, Senelle would, in that situation, just do more damage, and you would kill more through that. But for things like AC holding, hitting really strong players where the whites would trigger quite early and you get full value, I'm not sure Senelle and her weapon release has really seen the improvement to her ability that a lot of female players might have been hoping for. And in worst case, I don't think it's going to be a situation of Night King 100% has to be omitted from those min-maxed female synergy builds, because his raw value is just undeniably going to be a lot better than this, and it will just be a case of whether the additional synergy and extra damage can make up for what you'd be losing with not running Night King in that scenario. It's probably a way too long a tangent for what I was intending to do, but Senelle naturally, like when you look through how she works, needing 10 triggers is a lot when you are dealing with commander actives. So Senelle's snowball is quite delayed in its nature. And just as something to think about, yes, whilst when you have 3 stacks of this, for example, if it's a 4-star, and your actives start doing 300% more damage, yes, you'll be doing more damage with those actives in that scenario. But you've got to remember, if the alternative is Night King, let's say you go into a fight, you drop to 80% troops at around 10-15 seconds, and you then return and say like a 2 mil solo, like 650 to 700k troops. Yes, your actives with Senelle at that like 30-second mark would have higher coefficient, but that same mark with Night King as an alternative, you could potentially have 700,000 cavalry units scaling into those 5 commanders in your lineup's commander skills, and making use of all your cavalry attack stats or your cavalry attack base attack, and indirectly through that, you will still gain commander damage through Night King just because of the raw troops element. So if I was a maxed out female player, I would be a bit disappointed of this, honestly, particularly compared to something like Dana, which is the other equivalent weapon that's been released so far. This is, quite frankly, terrible in comparison. And yeah, if you have 4-star Night King and you're running that Night King weapon 5th commander composition and omitting Senelle, particularly when the anti-counter from her isn't getting huge value, when this gets released, I really wouldn't worry about breaking the bank to max this weapon out or anything. Unless it gets changed before release, of course.